I wanted to talk today about the notion of humility, and I guess it's like sort of in the popular culture, the use of the word humble and stuff, and uh, yeah, and anyway, also I think it's possible that people might think of the word just like peace in a way like meaning like an absence of something, like the absence of ego. But I find that like positive aspects are like extremely rich and full of something, as opposed to being missing anything, or like finding joy in life isn't a matter of just draining the bad energy from your life. It's awareness of like life force energy and how that can heal and fill you up and inspire you and be your best friend, and like carry you forward with like energy that you've like a reserve that's endless. Yeah, and I think that's why people celebrate spirituality so much, and took the effort to make like fantastic buildings or paintings or books, or this or that. And while some people who deliver that message, which is like spirit translated through them, it might not always come off like perfectly, or it might carry the baggage of them, or their kind of genetic history and stuff. But nonetheless, there's that like that push to like create that then is like something other people can walk into and be in awe of, that much faith that existed at one time, and that achieving some kind of balance, either architecturally or like how maybe someone was inspired to make like a beautiful garden, or just anything of beauty, like poetry can. Some people might say like poetry is useless, or or like certain kinds of fine arts and stuff, like art for art's sake. And but anything that is like working with like divine guidance is like incredible work that can, even just like reading one poem can sometimes undo years of pain, or it can give you like an instant connectedness or insight that then helps you like move forward and stuff. So because sometimes like we can feel just like bombarded in our own little world, or like in our family situation or community that might not be resonating with who you are, deep down. I find too that like a lot of us, like it seems to me from just observation, that people are being born more recently like as changers, and having like more of an awareness of source, or like spirituality that just can't be erased by society. And then it becomes, for some people, like butting heads, because the other people that we're encountering like don't have either that awareness, or they're happy where they are and they're trying to preserve what they think is good. Like oftentimes people make great efforts to preserve what they perceive as good, and they think that they're doing the right thing, but like for you it might be like the opposite. Or so you can't go through life just thinking all the time that like everyone's going around trying to wreck stuff. Like when you look at things from a compassionate point of view, you can see like, wow, they really thought they were helping me in this regard, and like that's fascinating and weird. Like, like you have to like bring your consciousness like out of that boxing match to the audience watching the boxing match, and having like a greater point of view of things. Anyway, so back to humility. I find that like sometimes interpersonal relationships or romantic relationships, when they like quote unquote fail, you're having to like have your own kind of boxing match with your expectations and your like ego, and that you really have to look at like what's your source of love, and how much like self love do you have, and how much do you allow, like, I'm just gonna say spirit or source, like the universal energy that created everything, like how much do you allow that to be a source of support and validation and everything else. Like if we put in the hands of other people like that, our treasure, which is us, and our value in someone else's hands, of course they're gonna like at some point kind of crumple it up like a piece of paper and throw it away, because it's like kind of useless to them. It's not that, like, they're working with their energy, so why would we like put in, give them extra work, to try to support us or make us feel valid and stuff. So it's on us to treasure sorry, what we have, and to celebrate that treasure, and just to like shine. It's like be aware of like all the beauty inside you, and let that shine out, and then hopefully we'll run across other people who value themselves and they're shining, and then you can have this harmony between you, instead of like a sort of vacuum effect, or like yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try to bring myself back to the subject. So humility, I don't know if we're born with it necessarily, but it's one of the hardest lessons, I think, and it's one of the greatest gifts, because it's like letting whatever people are kind of dishing to you just be, and nothing is gonna like make or break you in terms of that, and just being present in your self-acceptance, which means like accepting where you're at, how far you've come, and like an awareness of where you'd like to go or take your strengths further, and also just allowing people to be themselves in the same space as you, holding your own strength. And I don't mean strength like in terms of combativeness, like this like hyper awareness of like in every cell of your being that like you have this self-acceptance, and there's a certain calmness that's achieved by that, where you don't have to show off or prove to anyone, and you don't need anyone to show off or prove to you in order to feel secure that like the universe has your back. And one way in which to nurture that feeling of the universe having your back is to listen to those cues and like befriend those energies, like, go out in nature and really think like sometimes I go, like, I live in Montreal. Sometimes I go to Mount Royal Park, like near the bottom. There's some bigger trees lining the street. And then there's a set of pine trees across the street. And I sometimes, like when it's warmer out, not like, so maybe it takes 6 months of break from talking to trees and stuff. But when it's warmer, I'll like sort of feel what tree wants to talk to me, and then I'll like sit near it and stuff, and I'll just sort of feel the energy of it. Like you can feel the energy of what a rock feels like in its consciousness, or a tree. Like it's interesting to, or even like your house, or I think everything has like a certain kind of personality or a sensation. So once I was asking for like relationship advice from this tree, and I felt that the tree was telling me just to like be kind of face to face, like two trees might be like with each other, with the other person, and just in observation and acceptance, and just knowing that they're there, they're like not there, and that's kind of solidity and like calmness. And it was so powerful to like feel that the consciousness of the tree and how they relate to other beings and stuff was a great lesson. And while that might seem like kind of far out for some people, like you're really minimizing your perceptions by only communicating, like, let's say, with people and animals and stuff like that, because like the wind or the ocean or like even anything really like has a consciousness. And it's nice sometimes to just step aside and perceive, instead of always being like recirculating energies that like just keep going through your system. And that's why some people, me included, like either train themselves or get help to help like release some of the energies that are cycling through, to like update and progress more quickly through like ascending. And anyhow, so this video is like a little bit longer than my last one, but I wanted to also, I think I mentioned it, like just in terms of humility, even to yourself. Like sometimes like in today's world, to be very broad, like in the example of like dating apps and stuff like that, while there might be a sort of collective agreement of certain behaviors on those, that doesn't necessarily mean that like that's okay for you. And I think and that siren is like high-fiving that that it's important to like be humble to yourself in regards to that, like know what your true needs are, and to like humble your behavior to celebrate yourself and what you need and where you're at. And that might not necessarily be in line with like the general consensus or the general agreement today. And it might be the fact that like people on the dating apps are doing like a group kind of lesson together about like doing something kind of wrong, in order to then shed light on like what ails us in society, or stuff like that. I'm not saying you can't meet like someone you love. I'm just saying that there is like a certain accepted behavior that people can be like pushy about on in those types of circles and stuff. So it's important to be humble to your relationship with the universe and like your relationship to yourself, because like inside, you're sort of the queen or the king of your world, and you don't want to disrespect you know the high honor, and so okay, I'm like really spacing out really hard. I think it's because when I'm speaking to you, like I pick up on different people's energies and stuff, and it's easy to like try to tap into those, but I'm going to try to stay focused. Yeah, so I would just underline again that humility is like it's one of the hardest lessons, because you're to be like broken up with, or to be told like you can't have this job, or you can't come party with us, or whatever it is. And then you're confronted with all these like what does that mean, like, and you're confronted with like how much of my power am I giving to others, and why, and how does that serve me, and to like it forces you to develop a relationship with yourself and to try to find the validation through another means, and hopefully you don't like drown out, like give up on that process. It sometimes having that empty space allows what is true to start like reverberating, or like with that silence you can actually hear the call of something that's always been there, and it's like you're like, oh my gosh, like why did I not like validate this like quiet, like power, quiet voice inside of me that's always been there. It's part of my energy, and it's like what created you and what connects the whole universe together. And so just to try to summarize, because I could talk about this for days, but to not see positive attributes like peace and humility, or even meditation and stuff like that, as trying to like vacuum out just all the crap. It's like, no, I'm making space for that quiet, beautiful presence that exists everywhere, and it exists in me and supports me and loves me, and that like I have, let these gifts inside me reveal themselves and emanate their beautiful, more subtle energies that like glow like gemstones, like how the chakras are like different gemstones, and it's like let them shine. And while at first like the energy might feel very subtle, the more you tune into them, they become quite powerful. And then you might find like, oh, I'm much more comfortable speaking, or I'm more comfortable engaging with people, or I'm more comfortable accepting or putting my creativity forward, or or I feel like my dreams or my insights are more powerful. Like, so just take the time to humble your the noise, and so that you can let this more subtle, beautiful inner part of you that's connected to everything in the universe like resonate. I don't know if is that a good place to stop. So just know that if you're going through something interpersonal or having to do with work, or anything that's, no matter what you're going through, this type of mindset can help you get your strength back. It'll even like heal you somewhat physically, I think, too. And like it's never just see things as lessons, or see things as like people nudging you back towards yourself, instead of like, oh, everything's against me or whatever. Like I know people have it harder than me 100%, but I've gone through a lot myself, and every lesson has brought me back to that place, because I have deep down this like faith that could not be put out. Like it's like like symbolically, I guess, like the Olympic flame or something like that would be, it's like I don't know if this is true, but like to keep it burning somewhere like in between the times of the games or whatever. I don't want to like give too much props to that industry and stuff, but I'm just saying it's like a symbolic example of like always burning, that maybe people can relate to. So yeah, like no matter what I've gone through, like when everything crashes down to zero, there's always that like thing that's like still being my buddy, and it's like, what, and then after a while, when I've made kind of alliance with that, whatever kind of happens in my life, I don't freak out as much over. And if someone's like, backs out of engaging with me, it's not the end of the world. It doesn't pull the rug totally out from under me. It's like, okay, that's where that person is at, and maybe they tried on the new pair of shoes and then decided like, oh, I don't know if I can wear heels, or like whatever. I don't know if I can wear these like silver platform shoes. I don't know if that's me. And then they want to put on their old sneakers again, like whatever. Like it's not going to make or break you. So anytime you spend like spacing out, like in a natural way, not with any substances, but like anytime you spend spacing out and connecting with those tiny, beautiful energies within you, is time well spent, because it sustains you, and it's like you're connecting with the thing, the glue that holds the universe together. And I relate that to the sense of being humble, because it's like an awareness of something that can make you feel so supported and quiet that you don't need to put on masks and jump around and say like, no, this is this, like this, this, you're not seeing me correctly, or, whatever it is, kind of reactive mode you can get into if you're not being humble, right? So I appreciate your patience. And if you want to send me feedback that is like, the kind of feedback that is engaging, that's totally cool. And if you have like a subject matter you want me to talk about, or it could be anything, I'll consider it and maybe do a video on it. Anyway, I wish everybody the best. Have a good day.